So let's start. See, the second chapter is all about the economic environment for business. So, environment is nothing but our surrounding. Economic environment is nothing but the economy or a country in which all the economic activities happen. Okay. It is the economic activities are not only restricted towards a country, but you see economic activities everywhere in the world. That means the neighboring countries as well as the countries which are not our neighbors, even are economies. That means economic activities happen in those countries even. So mutually the economic activities happen in our boundary as well as internationally. Okay, so that is what we are studying. Wherever the economic activities happen, economic activities are the activities which involve exchange of money. Okay, with respect to goods or with respect to essentials. So since exchange of money happens, so everywhere it is happening in the world as well as in a nation. So we try to understand the environment of these activities which are happening in a nation as well as outside the nation. So let's go ahead. So outline of my macroeconomic policy, and I think you are not new to this word macroeconomic. Macroeconomics is what? It deals with the entire nation. Okay, it understands the achievement as well as the problems which a nation kind of encounters. Okay, whatever the achievements a nation makes and whatever the problems a nation faces. So now macroeconomic policy involves what? So you study all these things in a macroeconomy about the GDP, about the gross domestic product of a company, GNP, about the per capita income of a country. Per capita income is generally related to individuals, so I'll say more of microeconomics. But GDP, GNP, export import related issues, that is balance of payment, stability, full employment, low inflation, all these are the things which you study in macroeconomics, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So there are certain problems also we study in macroeconomics, like unemployment, high inflation, balance of payments, that is deficit. Okay, we have deficit, not surplus. So these problems or issues as well as the achievements both are a part of macroeconomy. Okay, so if we want to improve the economy's performance, if we want to achieve targets, we need to frame certain policies. Am I right? So every
Yes.
nation frames policies for achieving the objectives and goals for they have been which they have set. Am I right? If I take India's example, so India would have set up some target. Our prime minister says we want to make India a 5 million, a 5 billion, sorry, trillion. I'm sorry, $5 trillion economy. I don't know whether they'll achieve it or not in very soon in the near future, but that is what they have made a target. So to achieve, to become a $5 trillion economy, what India should do? Definitely, employment, full employment has to be achieved. There should be surplus, unlike the deficit. There should be a lower inflation in the country. The economic growth should be definitely GDP at the 10%. I will expect 10%, or right now India's demand, or India, I would say rather requirement, India's requirement should be 18% to achieve this $5 trillion economy feat. I don't know whether you read the newspapers or economics or not, but what knowledge I have, I'm sharing with you. So these are the targets a nation has. To achieve these targets, the the statesmen, the people who have been elected, or the governments have to sit on the table and they have to frame certain policies. They have to document certain policies. Okay. So now, policy objectives, the ultimate aims of economic policy. That is what they have a objective. They want to make good, they want to aim certain things in their economic policy, in their document. They have to show their manifesto. Am I right? Policy targets, they should set some targets to achieve that. And to achieve those targets, they have to frame certain policies. Now, so here are the targets, economic growth, and we have to reduce the rate of inflation. So there are two branches of economics, micro and macro. You already have understood this deals with the nation as a whole. This deals with the individual. The problems and achievements of an individual is seen in microeconomics. What I see in individual in microeconomics is like per capita income, or his spendings, his income, or what are the problems he is facing in an economy, etc. I will study under microeconomics, and macroeconomics studies the, if you combine all those individuals, all those companies, all those firms, all those businesses, if I club all of them, it becomes a part of macroeconomics. Okay. Now, so what do the a government is concerned with how the economy is behaving as a whole, and therefore with macroeconomic variables. What do you mean by variables? Certain things are variable. That means they are of variable nature. They are not stable. Okay. So there
Which
are
can
certain things like GDP. GDP is not fixed. China has fixed its GDP to double figures for 30 years, but India can't do that. You know, we are a failed democracy. You see the COVID-19 situation that's going on. So, uh, certain things are not of fixed nature. We want to fix them. Okay. So, that is what we'll try to do in our macroeconomic policy making. So, for that, planning and decision making happens. Let's see what the nations do to develop themselves or develop the economies. What they do, they make four kind of policies. Like, these are the aims. Okay, so aims of a nation happen to be to achieve growth. Am I right? So our country, they want to make it as a $5 trillion economy. So five, India right now is what, how much $1 trillion economy? I think 3 point something $1 trillion economy. They want to make it a $5 trillion economy. And China already is like, I think 16 to $18 trillion economy. US is 22 to $24 trillion economy. Okay, so to achieve $5 trillion feat, it's not an easy task. So they want economic growth. For that, they want to control inflation. That means they don't want the prices to rise. Okay, and the pressure should not be borne by the citizens. Balance of payment stability, they want more surplus and less deficit. That means more exports would give more surplus, and more imports is nothing but more deficits. Higher imports, higher deficit. That means you are paying more and you are receiving less. Okay, you have a bank account. You take yourself as an example. You have 1 lakh rupees in that. If incoming, if you have only incomings and less outgoings, then this would improve. But if you have more outgoings, this would decrease. Am I right? So in the same way, government also has money, and that money should increase rather than decrease. And then full employment. This is what the governments want. Okay, they aim for all these achievements, or they have all these objectives. Their objective is, or their aims are to achieve high economic growth, control inflation, reduce the imports and improve the exports, and improve the surplus rather than deficits, and achieve full employment. That is what I said. Point number two. So what will they do for achieving the economic growth? See, already you understand economic growth can be seen by the national income, or if the per capita income is rising, that shows the economic growth. That means that can be seen on the standard of living of the people. See, 20 years back, no one would have kind of seen something as a possibility. We would go into malls and buy clothes. Okay, 20 years back, in the sense when I was in 10th standard, or when I was in my schooling, when I was a primary school student, I didn't expect this mall culture and these multiplexes coming. For you, it is a norm right now. But that shows the Indians standard of living has improved a lot. Okay, previously we did not expect all these things happening. Now everything is like that. You have international brands coming in India. You are buying clothes, international branded clothes. The standard of living of people has improved. Okay, now every household has a smart TV, smartphone, all the kitchen equipments, and middle class and upper middle class, All are having this one. 10 or 20 years back, 30 years back, it was not everyone's cup of tea. Okay, so that shows the economic growth. Control price inflation, that means rising prices they should control. How they can control this, we will see. There are certain policies they have to frame for it. Okay, see what happens when there is high inflation. What happens, suppose 1 kg tomato if I can buy for, excuse me, see 1 kg tomato today you are buying for 40 rupees or 30 rupees. Okay, or suppose 20 rupees. When I was small, 2 rupees. So now you see you are paying 20, you are paying 10 times of this, but the quantity is same. So if you pay more, your bank account reduces by a higher amount. If you pay 2 rupees, okay, and you pay 20 rupees, here you are paying 2 rupees. Your bank account suppose has like 1000 rupees. So now you have 998 rupees, but you pay 20 rupees, your bank account has 980 rupees. So now see, your bank account has reduced more by 18 rupees, correct? So that is what you are feeling the pressure of, that is reducing your wealth. So if the inflation is very high, it reduces your wealth. That means inflation would be high because of certain reasons, because of high demand when people show for certain goods. Okay, that is called demand pull inflation, or when the cost of the things increase, that is called cost push inflation. So these are the factors because of which the things become very costly. And when things become costly, you become more poorer rather than becoming richer. Or the purchasing power of your currency has come down. Rupees value has come down. Tomatoes are more costlier than rupees. You know, you go to Venezuela, a country in South America, Central America, South America. There, if you want to buy a loaf of bread, one loaf, you have to pay 5 kgs currency. I'm saying really 5 kgs. That means they will weigh your currency notes in 5 kg. That 5 kg bundle you have to give. They'll give you one bread packet. You can check out in YouTube. So that's the reason why they have come out with 1 lakh rupees note of their country. That is the case, because that is, the bread is even more costlier than their currency notes. Toys, the toys are more costlier than money. You play with money, but you cannot play with toys. That is what damage inflation does to a country. Okay, there are various reasons why the Venezuela is suffering a lot. If you want to study, you study Venezuela's economy, you'll come to know, but as of now, no, not required. Okay, full employment, if everyone works, everyone does a job, they pay taxes, what happens? A country develops. If unemployment is high, that is a big problem. Balance of payment stability, see, if a country has to become rich, more exports, but if a country has less exports and more imports, country will not become rich now. Okay, now you'll ask me a question, sir. United States is a very rich country. They, and the $1 is 79 something. And if some US import export something to India, India will be reluctant to buy US goods. Why? Because Indians, what Indians can buy here in, suppose if you eat a McDonald's burger in India, how much you are paying for that? How much you are paying for that? Okay, fine. If you want to buy a bread in India, you are paying 40 rupees, correct? If you want to buy bread in US, you are paying $1. $1 is like 79 rupees Indian currency. So you are paying 30 rupees more, correct?
Yeah.
So US is more costlier, correct, when compared to India, because the currency value of US is higher than currency value of India. That means $1, if it is 1 rupee, there's no problem. But $1, if you want to exchange, if you want to buy $1, you have to shell out 79 rupees. And what United States people have to pay for 1 rupee? 1 by 79. How much is that? Tell me. Tell me what is 1 by 79. Come
Yes,
on.
sir.
Do a calculation.
0.012.
0.012. So now $1 is equal to 79 rupees. 1 rupee is equal to $0.012. That means 1 rupees is only equivalent to How much? Some 1 cent, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
So that is what is the condition of India. Okay. So it is 1 rupee, $1 is 79 rupees. So if I want to see $1 79 rupees, so $1 79 into 1 rupees. Okay. So 1 rupees is 1 by 79. So you'll get this much. So that is the value of Indian currency. So do you think we are going to buy more of US goods? No. So since US imports are very costlier for us, but Indian exports are cheaper to United States. What they are buying in United States for $1, they can buy two things. See, if they are paying how much? They are paying $1 for one burger in United States that costs them 79. If they buy it from India, for example, they are getting it at what price? Half a price?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That means for $1, if they are getting a burger in United States, so $1 happens to be 80, for example. So they can buy two burgers. That means a United States guy, if he goes to New York restaurant, he pays $1 and he gets a burger. Okay. In India, if he pays $1, he gets two burgers. So how he gets two burgers? Because $1 is 80 rupees, for example. Okay. So what he can do when he comes to India, he gives $1 to the bank, he gets 80 rupees, he gets two burgers. In United States, he gets only one burger. So Indian exports are very cheaper to United States. But again, still, United States is a developed economy. Why? They have their exports are less. That means their exports are cheaper, costlier to India. Okay, that means if you import goods from United States, it's costlier for India. See, there are different things to understand all this. United States is one of the biggest countries in the world who manufactures defense equipments, and defense equipments are of the highest demand in the world. What these guys do? These guys make countries fight, and they want to sell their weapons. All these things are all politics. They have all the system under their control, and in that way, their country's economy is not going down, but it is stagnant, not going up even, but they are able to maintain everything properly. Okay. See, what are we? We are just working on outsourced things. We don't have our own technology at all. Got my point? What
Yeah.
phones you use manufactured in China, but what about the microprocessor? United States has that technology. The computers you use manufactured in China. What about the chip and processor? United States. They won't give that technology to anyone. So what we are doing, outsource jobs. That's what. So US economy is a different case. Let it be. But one thing you should understand: the countries, if a country's currency is of higher value, their exports. That means if United States currency is higher than Indian currency, the value of US dollars is higher than Indian currency. Indian exports will be cheaper to United States, but US imports to India will be costlier. So India would like to export more to US and would like to import less. US would like to import more from India. If they want to export even, India won't accept those exports. Why? Because their exports are not affordable for Indians. Okay. Point number two. So every country in the world would like to push their exports and try to build surplus. Okay. United States, maybe they are not like selling the farm producers or textiles or clothing. They don't have textile mills in United States. You go to United States, you go and search textile mills. 70, 80 years back they closed it. 65, 50, 60 years back. Why they closed the textile mills? Come on, India and Bangladesh are there for them to manufacture a textile. That will go there and they'll just put their labor and sell it. That makes sense for them. So they put their entire mind on technology. Okay. So what a government should do to improve all this? To control the inflation. Okay. To control inflation or to reduce inflation, a country should frame monetary policy. To improve the government's income. See, government earns from what? Taxes. To develop a nation, government should also have earnings. These earnings come in the form of taxes. So whether to charge higher taxes or whether to charge less taxes, whether to like pass on the burden to the citizens or whether to reduce their burden. You see, before election, what happens? Everything becomes the prices of everything comes down. Correct? But when election happens, after election things become costlier. Now you see, if there is an election in our state, they'll reduce the petrol prices, or they'll do some sort of thing. LPG they will reduce. As election passes on after 3-4 months, they will immediately increase the prices. They put the burden on citizens. So these kind of things happen, and fiscal policies for that to improve. That means to make our exports go higher and less imports, we make external trade policies. And because of the exchange, see, I told you world is not confined. See, business in India is not only confined to India, or if I take UK's economy as per the ACCS perspective, it is not only confined to UK. It is the business should happen around the world. That means India wants to reach to every nook and corner of the globe to export their goods. And there comes a problem of exchange rate, because the currency what runs in India, or the currency what we want, is rupee, and that is not the currency outside India, correct? So what will happen if we export our goods to United States? So we would definitely receive the payment in dollars, and $1 happens to be 80 rupees, for example. So what is the problem you can face because of the fluctuation in US dollar and Indian rupee? Okay, you can face problems that can reduce your profits, or that can give you higher profits. Okay, the strong currency dollar won't suffer. Only the Indians are going to suffer because of the jump in dollar or the reduction in dollar. How? For example, I sold goods of suppose $1 billion to United States. Okay, today $1 happens to be 80. Suddenly India's economy boomed, and Indian rupees has become very stronger. Suppose after I'm building a ship for a customer in United States, and it takes 7 years to build a ship. Okay, not a joke. So that ship I'm building in India, and it is very cheaper for them to build ships in India, cheap labor, etc. If they make this ship in United States, it's going to cost them $1.5 billion, more than that. So why will they take that kind of risk? They'll give the order to India. Right now the exchange rate is this, but after 7 years when I receive the payment, $1 happens to be 60. Now what will happen? Am I going to receive 80 billion rupees or 60 billion rupees? Come on, tell me what is happening.
60.
60. So I lose 20 billion, correct?
Yeah.
So that is
Yeah.
that is not good for me. Now that's bad because of the exchange rates. And for example, if rupee becomes more weaker, $1 becomes 100, so I get 100 billion rupees. That's good for me. So either way, if I expect always that I will get this, no, it can go either way. Fine. So there are other kind of things with which you can try to hedge or reduce this risk of currency exchange fluctuation. We will not go into that right now. We have last 2 chapters to understand this. But as of today, governments should try their level best to make some strong exchange rate policies, because of which some losses here, what we are seeing, that $220 billion loss I can bear, that can be reduced. Okay, so they make exchange rate policy for that. So did I say the same thing? Monetary policy they make to control inflation, to generate more and more employment, and to see the economic growth. Okay, fiscal policy they make because they want taxes to collect from people to spend that on people and develop the nation. Exchange rate policies I explained you. External trade policies I explained you. Like if India wants to increase their exports, they can make free trade agreements with another nations. That comes under external trade policies, correct? Or like let us read out this. So the government might have a policy for promoting economic growth by stimulating exports, increasing it. For example, by managing the exchange rate to make exports cheaper for foreign purchasers. That means they will try. See, you listen. Maybe you have heard about this news. I don't know whether you're avid newspaper readers. China devalues its currency purposefully to improve or increase their exports. What is the meaning of this? See, China as an economy has developed a lot. One Australian dollar is how much rupees? Can you tell me? 59 rupees, correct?
Yeah.
1 Australian dollar is how many yuans? Search, do a Google search.
No, sir.
How much? One Australia, I don't know what your people are doing.
Yes, sir, it's
5.01
5.0.
yuan.
Yeah.
So what is the difference? And China and India were the same kind of countries. After independence, even Chinese, when we got independence, we had many things. Kolkata was the biggest city in Asia. Now you see Shanghai, where Shanghai is, where Hong Kong is, where Shenzhen is, where Shenzhen is, and where Beijing and all, they have like Harbin and Chongqing and many cities. You check it. I'm not bluffing. I know many cities of China. You see their economy. You see how the cities they build and what is the status of their economy. 1 yuan is how much rupees? 11.63 Indian rupees. So a guy who goes from India to Australia, this is the pressure. Now for a guy who is going from China to Australia, do they have pressure? You see, when you go to Australia, you'll find only Chinese. 60 to 70% people are Chinese. They invest their money, so much money in Australia, and that is very cheaper for them because 1 Australian dollar is only 5.01 yuan. Okay, if they pay 5 rupees of their country, they get $1. We have to shell out 59 rupees to take $1. So that is what the the governments make the so what happens now to increase the exports? China has made some policies. They have devalued their currency. With devaluation, what happens? They can improve or increase their exports. Okay, so that's what countries do. They manage their exchange rates. Another argument is that there should be import controls to provide some form of protection. How you can make import controls?
Mm.
See, today did you hear the news that government of India is going to reduce or going to just remove the import duties on remdesivir injections or vials? Did you hear this news? Come on, if you don't answer, then what is the meaning?
No, sir.
See, become smart. Become smart. Read some newspapers. Import duty. See, if you want to buy a car in India, okay, you know, acha, okay, fine. You know Sachin Tendulkar?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, you know, very good. So Sachin Tendulkar, if he wants to buy a Ferrari in India, he can buy that car in 70 lakhs. But he bought it from other country and he has to pay some 1.25 to 1.30, 1 point some crores, double the cost. So what country has done? Country has earned 70 lakh, and that time I heard they in fact removed the import duty for Mr. Sachin Tendulkar. I don't know what favor he has done. He is just a player playing his cricket, earning money. I don't know what the favor they have done or something to the nation. The government has done. If you want, I want to get something, they won't reduce any import duties. Okay, that
Yeah.
card would have charged him 1.40 crores. They waived off. So this extra 70 lakhs what government is getting is because of import duties. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is what I'm saying. See, if we want to protect our domestic manufacturing industry, we need to increase the import duties. So that would make the foreign purchases more costlier and people will get diverted towards the Indian goods, correct? So
Yeah.
that things also India can do. You know, making policy is not the only challenge, but the other challenges what the policy makers face is conflicts in policy objectives and instruments. See, definitely we want steady balanced growth and we want full employment. But you know, we also want to become a modern economy with technology. And if we bring big machinery, what about the labor then? We are using machine intensive techniques. What about the labor then? We won't have labors, and that will create.
Unemployment.
Unemployment.
That's what. I don't know how good you people are in economics. It's completely economics only. Now, in UK, the problems with creating more employment and steady growth in the economy have been a lack of domestic and global demand. See what is happening in UK. They want to achieve some more employment and steady growth. I already said you export more. See, you have a shop, and every passage of year, your revenues are increasing. So you become more richer.
Yeah.
Am I right? You
Yes.
earn more money. You buy more properties. You invest more. But what happens if things are stagnant? Now, in UK, the population is very limited. And in UK, they are a developed country since many years. They looted looted lot of things from the world, and it made them rich. But see, not only they looted, but they also developed a lot of technologies, and they sold those goods what they made to the entire world. XYZ, they did all those business and all, and they earned a lot of money. And every household has 2 cars. UK citizen. Health is free, education is free. Maybe some houses may have 3 cars, 3 to 4 cars maybe. Every house has a smart TV. Every house is well furnished house, and maximum UK citizens may have houses even. What about the India's condition? Only rich people will have cars. Rich or middle class, upper middle class. Okay, TV and all fine. But you know, India has a everlasting demand of all this. Huge population. Just 6 crore people pay taxes to the government. So, what do you think if 30 crore comes under this bracket? These are the people who pay direct taxes. Indirect taxes, we all are paying. GST and all we are paying. We are buying goods, we are paying GST. What do you think if 30 crore if 30 crore people come into the ambit of paying taxes? What happens? More revenue for the
More.
government, correct?
More
Yes.
growth.
Yeah. So in India, there is everlasting demand for things like now only these people who are paying taxes or presumed to be 30 crore people, maybe in upper class, middle class or middle class. Still 7, I think 100 crores still want to come into that class. So they have to buy TVs. They should have some good accommodation. They should have a minimum bike or car. Okay, you see many laborers who are working in construction sites. They don't have these vehicles. Come on, we know that. They
Yeah.
don't have bikes. They don't have minimum like basic things even at their homes. They'll also buy a microwave. They'll also buy a good gas like stuff, electric stuff. See, XYZ, there are lot of things what they can buy and become a middle class. Do you think all these things are required by UK people?
Mm,
No,
No.
no.
they already
No.
have it. So there is
Yeah.
no domestic demand in UK. For whom they are going to manufacture? For the citizens don't want it, they already have it.
Have
Okay,
it.
their generations to generations have it. And global demand has also come down after the 2008 financial crisis in United States. Still these people have not updated their syllabus. I don't know, they are still there. Now new crisis should come, COVID crisis. Okay, now, so the balance of payments. So how will UK's economy develop? They are very much I would like to say they are upset with this. They are not finding demand in their own economy. They are not finding global demand even, and the foreign exchange value of sterling is going up because it's a strong economy. So who will buy UK's goods? Okay, and inflation is also going high in UK. Why? Because like when you produce very less, see, inflation also crops up when you produce very less supply, correct? Less
Yeah.
supply, uh, and less production makes things costlier. Bulk production makes things cheaper. Fine.
Yeah.
It's because the cost comes down because of bulk production and the money supply also. See, the objectives of lower unemployment and economic growth have been difficult to achieve because of problems and conflicts with secondary objectives. So they are not able to generate employment. Why? Because there is no demand in UK, and there is also they are not able to sell the goods to outside world even. So no demand for UK's products. We don't want their products. Come on, we have everything in India now. In fact, they also come and make their factories in India and manufacture for Indians now these days. Okay, that is what. So to create jobs and growth, there must be an increase in demand, but that UK doesn't have. And when demand picks up, there will be surge in imports and foreign goods bought in UK manufacturers and consumers. See what happens if the demand is even high. UK currency is very strong, and UK will not export to anyone. Who will buy UK's goods? It's very costly. So rather they will import more, and when imports are very cheaper, then why will they produce? That again is a stupidity. Now,
Yeah.
so that is what they are struggling a lot. They are not able to create demand, and in fact, when they want to create demand, what they are seeing is imports are cheaper than exports. Okay, why to manufacture in UK? We can export from China, import from China. We can import from India. We can import from Bangladesh. You go to London, you go to London stores, you buy a Adidas T-shirt. It will be made in Bangladesh. Will be written in that. Not even India, made in Bangladesh, because Bangladesh fabric is even more cheaper than India. Now, for example, in UK, the high rate of imports creates deficit. So they don't have balance. They have deficit, no surplus, because imports are more, exports are less. And what is happening, which in turn weakens sterling and raise the cost of imports, thus giving some impetus to price rises. So what happens if more and more goods are coming to your nation? That means more and see, India, understand things properly. UK. So now there is lot of demand of UK goods in Indian goods in UK, and very less demand for UK made goods in India, as well as UK made goods in UK even. Okay, fine. Who would buy UK goods when Indian goods are very cheaper? No one.
No one.
So what is the pressure on UK is they want to import more and more from India. So they want to pay more and more to India. That
Yeah.
means India would not accept pounds, India would accept rupee. So what they will do, they will go to their bank and exchange more and more pounds into rupees. That means pound supply is increasing, rupees demand is increasing, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So pound is going weaker and rupee is going stronger.
Yeah.
So what will happen? See, if the pound is going weaker, okay, so the prices would be high in the future, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your currency is going weaker now. What you were able to buy two two pencils for £1, for example, you need to shell out £3 for two pencils now, because your currency is going weaker. Rupees demand is very high, it's appreciating. That's what I wanted to explain here. Now, to maintain the value of country's currency, then again what will they do? They will increase the interest rates. Why?
To increase the value.
Huh?
For revenue.
See, to maintain the value of country's currency, interest rates might need to be kept high, and high interest rates appear to deter companies from investing. So what happens? If you increase, suppose in India the interest rate, suppose you take UK, you take USA. In US the interest rates are 2%, and UK the interest rates have been 3%, and they are rising it to 5%. Correct? So what will happen? Loans will become costlier, and more people would like to deposit, and more people from United States would also want to invest in UK or deposit in UK banks. Why?
The
Because the
interest rate
return
is
is
very
more
high.
Because
compared.
UK is giving higher interest rates.
Yeah.
So what will happen? Slowly steadily they will go to the bank, and they will exchange more and more US dollars and try to buy more and more UK pounds. With this, what will happen? UK pounds value will.
Appreciate.
Increase.
Yeah.
That's what. Okay. So here we are. Am I able to properly explain you things?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
I don't know how your faculty has explained. So in practice, achieving the best mix of economic policies also involves number of problems such as following. So if you want to make these good policies, there are a lot of problems. What is that? Sometimes you may not have proper information. Sometimes time lags between use of policy and effect being noticeable. Political pressures, like India, everything is politically motivated. Unpredictable side effects of policies. I made the policy, but I don't know what's going to be the side effect. Influence of other countries. We not only work as per our own whims and fancies and vision will. At times we need to understand the global order, and conflict between the instruments, which we already right now discussed. Like, you want to generate high employment, but the thing is you need to also use technology. So there is a clash. So today I'd stop here. Tomorrow I would go for fiscal policy, monetary. I will wind up all the policies tomorrow. Okay. So I think today I gave you a good idea regarding this. The basics I have given you good basics. Tomorrow let us hit the target. Okay.
Yes.
Maybe more 2 classes it would take for me to wind up this chapter, and accordingly I can go for the financial markets in the next class. Acha Satvik, like I wanted to give you this investment decisions videos. I will
Okay.
send you right now. You
Okay.
have done the chapter number 1, na?
Yes, sir. Done.
You have completely done. So
Yeah,
tomorrow be ready
I've
for the
gone through
test for
three
chapter
videos.
1. Hello.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
And I'm sending you investment decisions right now. Okay.
Okay,
So
sir.
start seeing them also. Fine.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Okay, then see you tomorrow at 5:30.
Okay,
Bye
sir.
bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.